Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Aisyah. I will present the introduction. Firstly, definition of affordable housing. Housing or temporary location is necessary for humans to practice faithful behavior. Affordable by the section of society whose income is below the median household income. Ona said, affordable is situation when housing of an acceptable minimum standard can be obtained and retained living certificate income to meet essential non-housing expenditure. Affordable housing important because it acts as the primary resources of economic growth in the real estate sector.
The issue of affordable housing has become a very prominent issue in the eyes of the world due to the increases in the cost of living for the community. The increases in the cost of living, including the cost of housing, has caused many who are economically affected to own a home. The media also often bring up the issue of affordable housing in order to increase public awareness of the issue. Therefore, there are more than 20 agencies and programs carried out by the Malaysian government in an effort to increase the number of affordable home buyers in Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum, my name is NURUL binti HAIZATUL HISHAM. Next, for my part, I'm going to present about causes of affordable housing issue in Malaysia. There are several causes that affecting the house affordability in Malaysia, which is income incompatibility, location and housing financing. The first factor is incompatibility with the price of the ability to own the house offered. The number of houses that aren't sold may be affected by the fact that people's income doesn't match up with the price of the houses. This is what happened when the number of unsold houses quickly went up. This is because the house price can be as high as RM300,000 and the monthly payment is around RM1,200 to RM1,500. It will be hard for families, especially those in the B40 group, to pay for the higher cost of living. They can't pay for a house that costs a lot of money. Also, the minimum wage in Malaysia has gone up from RM1,200 to RM1,500 by 2022, but it is still not enough to cover living costs or even to buy a house. This is the main reason why they are renting the house instead of buying it. The second factor is location. Many of these overhang affordable property are located in far-flung areas that are hard to reach and without easy access to amenities. Affordable houses offered in areas too far away from the city and other public facilities. How far it is to go get to work, school, and public transportation. Kuala Lumpur is a good place to buy a house because it is an urban area with lots of job opportunities. Most people prefer to live there rather than living in rural areas. The house price in Kuala Lumpur is the most expensive because of the high demand of the houses. This has a big effect on the value of the houses that can be bought and is a big reason why the overhang problem exists. The third factor is the housing financing that hinder the accessibility of affordable housing. This happens because of the strict terms and conditions of the loan. Factors such as minimum wage requirements, good credit record, or complicated documents are obstacles for those who want to get a bank loan. High interest rates, on the other hand, raise the monthly payment and the total cost to the buyer. Loan repayment amount to the bank reach almost twice to the original price of the house. Low and middle income people may have to think long and hard before taking out a loan because of this. For example, individuals who work on their own will find it challenging to obtain loans since they do not have a salary slip.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is BINTI ABDUL KHALID, and today I will present for the part challenges. As we know, before doing anything, there must be challenges that we need to face in order to succeed in something, as well as the affordable house. There are several challenges that developers need to face in order to build as many affordable houses as possible. The first challenge is the high cost of building materials due to the dependency on imported building materials. In short, as we know, every material used to make a house is very expensive, even more so after the world was hit by the COVID-19 epidemic, and most of the materials that Malaysian developers use are imported from abroad. The price of goods is increasing because when the epidemic hits the country, many factories were forced to close, and after the epidemic decreased, the factories started to process again, but the country's economy was different, for example declining, so they had to raise the prices of material to increase the economy. The second challenge is land cost that leads to an increase in house prices. It is a very big challenge, especially because the price of land nowadays is very expensive, and even more so in urban areas inhabited by a large population. And because the place has a large population, then usually the land will be very expensive, and the developers will fight to buy and build houses affordable there. In addition, land will be very expensive for areas that are close to the city centre or have a large population, such as areas around Kuala Lumpur and areas around Pulau Pinang. We can see in the data that I have put in the slide, the closer the area or state is to Kuala Lumpur, the higher the land price there. The third challenge is a shortage of local labour for construction industry in Malaysia. The labour force is one of the important individuals in the construction industry because they are the ones who will develop the building after receiving instruction from the developer. So, if the labour force is reduced, especially the local labour force, because they will have more knowledge than the foreign labour force, then that will be challenge for developers to build these affordable houses as planned. The government also had to hire more foreign labour than local labour, because most local people do not like very tiring and dirty work. They prefer to work in offices or comfortable places and demand high salary from the government. So the government prefers to hire foreign labour because they don't mind if they are offered low salary. As we can see in the data in the slide, the data shows that there are more foreign labour than the local labour in the construction industry.
Well, now I will explain about the government policy to ensure that the issue of affordable housing in Malaysia can be restored. As we know that Malaysia is no exception in facing rising house prices. Urban areas that are the places with very high population density, causing them to face high home ownership costs. Therefore, among the government initiatives or policies that have been highlighted are affordable housing that has been built on federal and state government land. The RISE program launched to provide quality homes at below market prices. For example, PRIMA, Program Perumahan Rakyat One Malaysia, which was launched in 2011 for the middle income earners in Malaysia. Initiatives like this offer a variety at home options such as terrace house, condominium, and apartments. Another example is My Home and RMM, Rumah Mampu Milik. My Home scheme is a scheme that is introduced by the government to help the first-time home buyers who want to buy a home to get full loan from selected banks. The second is that the government has welcomed the state government and the authorities to exempt or reduce development charges and compliance costs imposed on housing developers. As we know that nowadays the price of land and building materials have increased, at the same time causing the price of residential real estate to increase. Then, by reducing development charges and compliance costs can reduce the burden and convince people to buy a house with their economic condition. Alright. What are development charges and compliance costs? Development charges are charges that are levied on developers. If a development results in a change of use, density, or floor areas in relation to any land to increase the value of the land, a development charge must be levied in respect of any land development that is initiated. Meanwhile, compliance costs are the costs incurred to comply with various policy, guidelines, standards and regulation. It includes capital-based costs such as land conversion premiums, contribution charges, levies, fees and other financial contribution, including infrastructure, service funds, utility development charges and contribution for road upgrades. So, with a reduction in charges like this can reduce the cost of development and make the price of the house affordable. At the same time, it can benefit the government and the private sector because it can increase the supply of affordable housing, especially in urban areas or strategic location. Alright, next, there are government agencies such as Jabatan Perumahan Negara (JPN) that work to collect more comprehensive real estate information, including overall housing supply and needs through their studies. Currently, Malaysia faces challenges in coordinating affordable housing information, especially in obtaining complete data on supply, income demand, household characteristics and choices. So, with the JPN, the government can improve their understanding of suitable locations for the development of new projects, good transport networks, and the needs of the population. The entity can make smarter decisions in the planning and provision of affordable housing. The last one, the government has established the Agency Counselling dan Pengurusan Kredit (AKPK), which has provided a simple online financial education module for home buyers. This online module is very useful for people to get guidance on their decision to buy or rent a house. For households in Malaysia, buying a house is one of the biggest financial expenses. In the meantime, most households in Malaysia do not have enough knowledge to buy a house because there is not enough information. So, AKPK was created to collect information and deliver to everyone. AKPK has also provided a housing loan calculator that gives home buyers access to calculate the loan amount they are eligible for. So if we want to try it, it can be accessed through the Rumahku AKPK portal. That's all from me. Thank you.
330. The amount is really down in 2019 are 60,664 for the value of 18.82 billion. In 2020, the total unit down is 39,565, but for the 2021, the total unit is up to 66,1863. Lastly, in 2022, the total unit is down to 67,746. Security can divide for three categories, which is property security, building structure security, citizen security. Term of safety was determined as the most important aspect for improved community well-being with the framework, especially for suburban, rural and metropolitan areas, to avoid problems such as burglary and robbery and to be protected from the physical problem and any damage. A study was analysed 18 terms that exist around the world. There are some of the issues that have been popular, which is cost, design of quality, safety, availability of public facilities and infrastructure, distance to the work, distance to commercial area, distance to public transportation, clinics, neighbor and family relation. Barton said, describe well-being is being related to the healthy of the mind generated through the pleasure of spending time with others, getting out for fresh air and being involved in physical activity. Security can divide for three categories, which is property security, building structure security, citizen security. Term of safety was determined as the most important aspect for improved community well-being with the framework, especially for suburban, rural and metropolitan areas, to avoid problems such as burglary and robbery and to be protected from the physical problem and any damage.
In conclusion, after truly analysing the causes of the affordable houses, the challenges that the government and developers have to face, and the policies issued by the government to stop this issue from continuing, we found that this issue is a very big issue and quite difficult to solve. But various initiatives have been done by the government, such as establish PRIMA, which is the program Perumahan Rakyat Satu Malaysia for the middle income group, and they also introduced My Home to help first-time home buyers. After all, Malaysians should also join hands to help the government succeed in something that has been planned by the government, because the matter not only can give advantages to the government, but we as Malaysians can also feel the advantages.